Prepare to enter a true nightmare. In medieval times, crimes were punished in a brutal and merciless way. Instruments such as the terrible breast ripper and the knee divider were created to spread fear and control human behavior. But did all this cruelty really work? Find out how, even in the face of such terrifying punishments, many still face horrible fates. Welcome to Medieval Chest, your gateway to the darkest corners of human history. Subscribe if you dare, and tread carefully as the content ahead is profoundly graphic and deeply unsettling. The Judas Cradle, born of Italian ingenuity twisted into cruelty. The Judas Cradle, also known as the Judas Chair, stands as a chilling testament to medieval brutality. Prisoners were mercilessly lowered onto a sharp, pyramid-shaped device, its pointed tip aimed at the most vulnerable parts of their bodies, the anus or vagina. The immense pressure and agonizing stretching caused by this device were far from the end of their torment.
Victims often suffered severe injuries, leading to infection and ultimately a slow, painful death. But the tormentors weren't satisfied with mere suffering. To amplify the agony, they added weights to the victims, forcing the pyramid's tip deeper, leading to death by internal impalement. This sadistic contraption finds its grim sibling in the Spanish donkey or wooden horse, where prisoners sat on a triangular wooden beam that pressed mercilessly into their crotch, an excruciating ordeal that fractured both body and spirit. The pair of anguish. An instrument so grotesque it was designed to punish a variety of crimes, from inducing miscarriages to blasphemy and homosexuality. This horrifying device, nicknamed the choke pear, was inserted into the body, be it the vagina, anus, or mouth, and slowly expanded by twisting a screw. As the metal leaves opened wider, they ripped flesh and caused unimaginable pain. Death wasn't the intent here. Psychological and physical torment were. This device was often combined with other tortures, creating a symphony of suffering designed to break even the strongest will. The breaking wheel. Known as the Catherine wheel, this medieval monstrosity wasn't just an execution tool, it was a spectacle. Victims were tied to a large wagon wheel, their limbs strategically placed over its spokes. Torturers then wielded iron clubs to smash bones, the gaps in the wheel ensuring maximum destruction without immediate death. The cruelty didn't stop there. Victims, often left alive but shattered, were placed on public display as a grim reminder of the state's power. Some lingered in agony for days, their broken bodies a testament to medieval sadism. The iron chair. Imagine being strapped into a chair covered in hundreds of sharp metal spikes, each one poised to pierce your flesh. This was the iron chair, a device designed to prolong agony for hours or even days. Prisoners were bound tightly, the spikes embedding deeper with each turn of the restraints. Yet blood loss was minimized at least until removal to ensure victims stayed alive for as long as possible. Beyond the physical pain, this chair served as a psychological weapon. Witnessing its use was often enough to coerce confessions from others, their terror outweighing their resolve. The head crusher. As its name suggests, this device did exactly that. Crushed heads. Slowly. The victim's skull was compressed under a metal cap, the pressure fracturing bone and mangling flesh. Survivors, if there were any, were left disfigured for life, a walking reminder of their ordeal. Rat torture. One of the most grotesque methods ever conceived, rat torture turned desperation into a weapon. A live rat was trapped in a metal container placed on the victim's abdomen. Heat was applied to the container, driving the panicked rat to claw and burrow into the flesh in a frantic bid to escape. The result? Hours of unimaginable agony as the rodent tore through the body, often targeting the intestines. Death, when it finally came, was a release. Coffin torture. The medieval caged coffin was as much about humiliation as it was about pain. Victims were confined in tight metal cages, their bodies often exposed to public ridicule. Passers-by, sometimes encouraged by authorities, hurled insults, stones and even worse at the prisoners. For those deemed deserving of death, the coffin became their grave, a slow, torturous demise from starvation, exposure or injuries inflicted by mobs. Breast ripping. Few methods of torture were as specifically targeted or as sadistic as breast ripping. Used predominantly on women accused of adultery, heresy or witchcraft, the iron spider was a heated, claw-like device that tore breasts from the body with methodical cruelty. Each agonizing tear was both a punishment and a spectacle, a barbaric assertion of dominance. The knee splitter. A horrifying favorite of the Inquisition, the knee splitter lived up to its name. This device featured spiked wooden blocks that crushed the knee as screws were tightened, shattering bone and rendering legs utterly useless. The number of spikes varied: more spikes for greater suffering, fewer for a quicker, though still agonizing, ordeal. History is filled with shadows, and the devices used to torture and punish reveal the darkest depths of human depravity. Which of these chilling artifacts shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe for more unsettling glimpses into the past.